Everyone is free to daydream when it comes to their car. Some do it while imagining themselves behind the wheel of a Formula 1 car, and some prefer to open their garage one morning and find a supercar. And then there exist people who go beyond and have clear ideas as children of the type of bond between man and car, wishing that connection for their own life. This happened to Horacio Pagani. I had great luck. Even though I was in Argentina and I was 12 or 13, I felt the influence of the land of Modena. Through the few magazines that arrived in and came out in Argentina, you could see the Maserati, the Ferrari and the Lamborghini all in one place. I discovered that they were all here in Modena, so as a kid, let's say that my wish was to come to Modena to design and to build my cars. 20 years. So much has passed since 1999. The Zonda debuted, a hypercar that well before its launch was defined as a timeless car. This is an important anniversary to pay tribute to a car born as an icon out of the Motor Valley. Starting from the day of its initial presentation, it demonstrated a charisma that positioned it instantly as an object of desire by customers who recognized themselves in the values of Horacio Pagani. Pagani continuously researches perfection, from the considerate care of each component that should not go unobserved by the consumer's eye. These are often people different in character and culture, coming from separate parts of the world to buy a Pagani for reasons that are opposite from each other. Some for the performance, others for the prestige. But what can be agreed upon is the certainty of choosing a unique product, so customizable that at any corner in the world, no Pagani is alike. Customers today, especially Pagani customers, are increasingly demanding. The wirer is made up of 10,000 components, including the motor as a single piece. And each of these components possesses a story about how they seek to be something more. It generates emotion. Even a suspension arm, which is a purely technical component and which is seen as a purely technical component. For us, however, it is an object that begs you to pass something on, which begs you to pass emotion along. As the Pagani customer is extremely demanding for this, for us, is very beautiful. Like the customer who constantly pushes us towards new heights while surprising ourselves. As with the BC Roadster, a car that wasn't in Pagani's programs as it was thought to pass from the normal Roadster to the new car, the C10. And we welcomed a series of advances until completing more than 40 with the Roadster BC. Therefore, the client has pushed us to make this machine. What does it mean? That when the customer asks you this and is convinced and believes in what you're doing, you have to work even harder, or the sense of responsibility towards the client increases much more. Therefore, the reason the whole team is continuously motivated and self-critical towards the work itself is in order to find a way to astonish the customer and somehow exceed expectations. How do we demonstrate such trust? By interpreting the tastes of potential customers and continuing to innovate in technology thanks to materials that merge a sublime aesthetic with rigid characteristics and unique attributes. Pioneering material composite since the 1990s with the Zonda and its bodywork, made entirely in carbon fiber, transformed the car into an object of pure desire for enthusiasts of the world. I believed in this technology because I thought it presented a certain opportunity, especially for smaller productions, and in the beginning I invested a lot of my time, and then, over time, everything took a right turn. And now, I'm glad that in Modena, this technology that has become very, very strong and a part of the heritage of Ferrari, Lamborghini, and companies like the CPC, companies that work a lot and very well in the field of composite materials. So I'm glad that this effort has brought a development not only for us, but also for the other very high-level companies. And if at its launch the Zonda seemed as if it was from the future, today we find ourselves exactly in an era where absolute performance and material composites are no longer enough to astonish. With a clientele that expects to be impressed with something else, something unthinkable at least until a few years ago, and therefore a question naturally arises: were there customers who asked about the electric car? And what's your perception in this regard? No, there was not even one customer who had ever asked us at that time for an electric car, and neither of a hybrid car. In fact, when I speak of these topics, let's say, their hair raises. That being said, the C10 project, in other words the car that will follow the Zonda, which we will present in 2022, is built with a new Pagani V12 engine, which is a bi-turbo engine that Mercedes-Benz engines made for us. Therefore, we will have this engine until 2025, and in 2026 with models more severe than the norm, including the Californian one. However, in 2024, we will launch a version of the C10 that is full electric. It's a project that we've been working on for a year and a half, and we believe in this project, and the fact that nobody asked about it makes it all the more interesting and much more challenging. Expecting to be electrified by the hypercar and that its emotions are equal to something that continuously draws you in, what remains truly extraordinary is in the participation of each individual collaborator in the life of the company and the birth of new models presented and previewed to all employees, as in the case for the brand new BC Roadster, illustrated by Horacio just a few hours before leaving for Pebble Beach. A car that, in figures, weighs 1,250 kilograms and has 802 horsepower, approximately twice as much as the first Zonda, from an engine which, in the eyes of those who create these machines, takes on a particular significance, going from Horacio's first car to assembling the last evolution of the Mercedes-AMG engine and signed Pagani V12. A grand way to celebrate an anniversary with such importance. After 20 years of collaboration, the desire, per se, was not a desire to have a purely Pagani engine, as we are proud to have Mercedes written above, and with time it became AMG. However, the new engine is called Pagani V12 and is in effect something born with great passion. But as they themselves said, now you can walk with your feet. You have this clearance on our part. The engine is yours here. It's certainly a nice recognition for a collaboration that goes beyond the engine, and that speaks of a trust born in unsuspecting times when the Zonda did not yet exist. But that determination of Horacio, well, that had already been well defined. He was a bit of a comedian at the first meeting with Dieter Zetsche, who was an engineer at Mercedes-Benz, and when Horacio showed Zetsche the rendering and the model photos of the Zonda, he said, "This is a timeless car." Then Horacio said back to him, "It better be one timeless machine, because I'm out of money and it will take a long time to make the car." From then and there it took 6 years until the presentation at the Geneva Motor Show. Back in 1999, when it all started, the moment when a man's determination took form in the Motor Valley, a concrete visionary, nourished by a land which for him continues to be a source of inspiration for young, talented people in the world of motoring. A dream born in the Argentine Pampa that over time, with sacrifice and tenacity, led Horacio to succeed in masterfully blending art and technology, materializing it in everything we know today as Pagani Automobili.